Just wait. Just wait. It's all about waiting. It's all about waiting and be waited on. We the Almighty. What do I call it? I'm like to open it up this way. This way, in case they come across it. Whenever they come across it, I have no way of, I don't know how to post this or anything. There is no shout out anymore. You used to have a shout out. You could actually shout out, saying, hey, I'm getting ready to go in there. Come and see. I do hold a minute. I don't know how. I can have research on it. There's a Bennett that died from Tesla in Granville. I mean, it's all about being between. It's not really being there. It's just living in Granville. Well, that's it. I went live for this, and I don't think I'm going to get anybody. Because the way YouTube and YouTube are playing this game between each other and how this stuff works, they haven't got the bugs out of it. That's for sure. If they had all the bugs out of it, I wouldn't have any problems. But they haven't got the bugs out. There isn't bugs to get out of here because there is nothing to get out of. I mean, it's like, really? No bugs to get out of this? You gotta be kidding me. I got this genetically engineered grapefruit the size of a basketball. Is that supposed to be natural too? Natural is Google and YouTube. Let me save that till the morning. It smells good. The grapefruit. I picked the biggest one out they had in there for 99 cents. And it was like the other was like grapes. Like oranges or something. I'm like going, really? You're going to have oranges instead of grapefruits? Really? I'll play that game. I'm talking about drugs. Sell fucking oranges size grapefruits for 99 cents a piece. That's hideous. Oh no, I don't go do that. Well, I put the call out. It's 2 something in the morning. I'm not going to get anyone because that's just the way YouTube's set up. Not to inform anyone. We all just sit back and wait while we're on the air and I make a recording. That doesn't make any sense to anything because I don't ever want to talk to you to confirm or deny. Right? Is that the game? YouTube? You and your Googles? Now think about the name Google. It sounds like somebody gurgling something or I don't know, doing something stupid. And YouTube's going along with it. So they're just as part of this as the rest of it. Okay, Google. You can play. Time to play. Not playing yet? I hear nothing. Come on, Granny Hits. My friends list. I should have this board filled. Everyone wants to talk. It should be like Natalie. I should have full board. Oh well. got nothing. I got nothing. Iron Man 3. I got nothing. Right. Tony Stark. I got nothing. No, I should have everything. Yeah. No, the trolls have lost interest in me. That's a good thing. They're not here trolling on me. No trolls. No nothing. Doesn't surprise me. After the trolls got on me, they make fun of me throwing pornography and everything on my channel, and lost interest and went somewhere else. You have other targets to hit on. Trolls. Yeah. All about trolls on here. People on here, I think it's trolls. That guy on here was questionable. I guess it's at least questionable. I'm getting sunshine for the forecast, so it's not raining out there. No, I got nobody. There's nobody. I got nothing. It's an interesting live broadcast now, isn't it? Me just mumbling away. I got nothing. But I did. I got the Montauk Project revisited. There's a lot on here. The proof. I would like to prove the Montauk story as much as anyone. By that, I mean irrefutable documentation that would stand up to any inspection. I'm convinced that there was a project out at Montauk that was of a top secret nature, that it included mind control. I'm certain. The time aspect is the most difficult to establish, although Preston's theories and memories, along with those of Duncan and Al Bielek, are quite enlightening. The proof does not come easily. I liken it to the analogy of a father who abused his entire family. And the father, of course, denies that he does anything wrong. The family are so coward that they absolutely deny any wrongdoings by their patriarch. This type of behavior is also seen in the movie The Wizard of Oz, when the witch enters the army cheers after Dorothy throws water on and melts her. Prior to this, they were all profusely bowing down. It is totally understandable that people can be afraid, especially if they consider their lives are at stake. But I believe this is important, and the whole matter must be put in proper perspective. Anytime someone gets scared or hides evidence, they are paying tribute to the bogus authority that is behind the Montauk Project. You don't understand the Montauk Project. Well, here's the evidence. We said in the first book that there are a variety of degrees of proof. This chapter will deal with the actual examples and experiences that will serve to establish that the Montauk Project in some form took place. One of the strongest pieces of hard evidence in the Montauk Project was the section on the radio sound and how it was used to modify the weather. We received one review on the book by a gentleman who gave it a very nice review, except that he refuted the data about the radio sounds. He said it was off base from his personal experience. He did not work on radio sounds, but what he does tell us is that the work in a top secret capacity, he signed non-closure forms, and it would be his duty to hold the government line. He had to deny it. It is always interesting when your critics make false criticism, and that is just one example. After the book was published, I did find and dig up some information that would corroborate Preston's information. First, I spoke with Dick White. He was the head of the Montauk Historical Society and extremely knowledgeable about Montauk history. He is very friendly and was able and was most helpful. When I told him about the book and gave him a brief rendition of the story, he told me that he would have thought I was crazy, except that there was a fellow in the tavern the night before who was talking about a documentary that to be due on the Philadelphia experiment. He had some idea of what I was talking about, but it was simply too far out for him to easily grasp in a single phone conversation. Dick had some interesting stories, though. When I asked him about animals storming Montauk, he did remember 2 deer running into the town, or one coming into or craving into a phone booth, and the other falling and sliding into the doorway of an establishment. He thought it was strange. But could that be perhaps the result of a dog chasing the deer? No dog was observed, though. He spoke of an incident in '72 when he drove a friend to an inner gate of the Montauk base. His friend worked there and was allowed to enter, but the guard pointed a gun at Dick's windshield right in the direction of his 3-year-old son. Dick asked him to leave the kid alone. The guard subsequently pointed the gun at him and demanded to know what he was doing there. Dick and his son got away unscathed, but this is incredibly strange behavior for what was purported to be a simple FAA, Federal Aviation Administration radar installation. It was also an incident mistake at worst on Dick's part. The guard's irrational behavior indicated that something of a very sensitive nature was taking place. The entire incident also suggested that the guard could have been programmed in some fashion. Dick then gave me a phone number of some technicians he knew who had worked at the base. I was available to get a hold of one who was, or will refute to be his kin. This gentleman said he'd not heard of the Philadelphia experiment and he had retired about 1973. Asking Ken anything strange events went on at the base, he wanted to know what I meant by strange. Well, he asked. He continued tonight until I told him the above story by Dick White. Scratch my ear. He then changed his tenure and said, well, of course, there were guns. It was a high security area because of the radar, and I had to be protected. I had caught him in a definite lie, and I knew it. I couldn't trust anything he said. He did admire to hear a brand new computer being installed in about 73. Just as he was about to retire. This is the same date Preston had given for the computer change. There was another other report of the contractor, and this man had a gender working for him who would be routinely shocked whenever he hit a piece of the metal in the ground while working at the house near the base. This is evidence of a highly charged electric field in the vicinity of the house, of the base. Things took a different turn when I spoke with Dan Ratner. He is the editor and publisher of Dan's paper, a long-established local paper on the east end of Long Island. He also published the local Montauk Pioneer. Dan was very courteous, and although he was too readily to challenge the information in the book, he did remind the book of geese storming the town once. But he disagreed strongly with the stories about the snow in August. He had temperature recordings in his paper over the years and would vouch for any weather that was unusual. Preston's reports were not from his own observation, but were from his stories he'd heard about kids on the beach. He also got a report from someone who claimed to have kept a weather log on the Montauk base, and it was hearsay. Interestingly, just before this book went to press, he got one report from a woman who said there indeed had been snow in the summer. Snow in the summer. Really? I want to comment on that from the Montauk Point. Anyone that lived in the Montauk area? I think there's something afoot there, says Sherlock Holmes. Does anyone know anything? Are we all going to be just silent? on the Montauk area. Montauk, New York. Anyone listening on here? You know any stories of the Montauk Project? Project Rainbow? Nobody knows. Okay, well, I tried to stir up a conversation with somebody. Yeah, people could speak up on here if they're allowed to. I have enough followers that probably know stuff, but I can't get them to come on here and talk about Montauk. Why not? We're just so hysterical of the Montauk Project. That is the million-dollar question. Why can't they speak up of the Montauk Project? Why can't they talk of what the happenings that happened there? Phenomenal explanations of deers running through the streets of Montauk town, geese flying into buildings and stuff, like in the birds in Montauk. It comes to a point where you either have to start believing or you just start denying, because you can't believe fantastics. Or we live in a fantastic world. I know this because I talk to ghosts. I mean, you can talk to ghosts on a flashlight, give them to speak up, not be gun shy. Sometimes they get gun shy. Right? They're like, you're giving them pointing questions. I just found out about a woman earlier on a video because I had TJ with me, and we were able to get that. She died in 1989 on July 2nd, and her name's Bennett. Okay, that's enough information to do research on. If I can prove this, I'm going to do a documentary on this, and I'm going to prove that ghosts do exist and there is an afterlife. And by talking to these entities, I'm going to prove that when you die, you just don't go to the grave. Just go to another dimension. You go to other world. Other worlds parallel to this world. It has a parallel reality. And we are in this parallel world. And we're living a parallel reality ourselves. As I spoke of in a couple of days ago in a video, I talked about a book. It's only 300 and something pages long, called The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot. He gives reports of all this stuff that happened. He gives a report of a hunter standing on a hill, and he got shot in the chest by a rifle, and he's looking at it. He falls to his knees, falls over, but yet wakes up, and he's still alive without the wound or anything, because he woke up in another world. So my phrase, otherworld. Where do you get that phrase, otherworld, from? Well, I kind of derived it from Dragon Ball Z, but that's beside the point. Don't worry about where I got the word at. But that was basically the description he gave. He woke up in another world, otherworld. And it's parallel to this world. Now, there was a movie that was made where a guy had himself going out and killing himself in other worlds. He had a device that he could travel between world to world and kill off his duplicates. So he would be the only one left, which supposedly gave him immortality or something, some, far off, writer's thing. But the idea is he was going world to world. In other words, this person apparently read the writer read the holographic universe and saw that and said, I'm gonna fly on that. I'm gonna become a writer of this story of a guy who's out killing off his duplicates in other dimensions. And he came up with the idea that he could do that. He could bring his duplicates out, kill them all off, and he absorbed them as he killed them. So he was the only one of his duplicates in all realities, all dimensions. Well, that's an interesting story in itself. I mean, that's got volumes to talk about. If you're a quantum physicist and stuff, it's like, oh yeah, the guy can go from dimension to dimension and killing off himself. Yeah, he's going to probably control and contract these energies and make them into themselves. Of course. Then you become the only one with all their different dimensional characteristics. Sounds cool. I mean, it really does. But who would want to really do that? Who would want to go hunt themselves down and put them out of misery? It was, I think it was a, movie, which doesn't surprise me. And he's tracking him. This one guy finds out what's going on. He's tracking down the tracker, and he wants to stop it. And he's a police officer in this universe or whatever, and he wants to go out and he wants to track him down and stop him. Do I have anyone that wants to come on here? Just show up and give a, you know who that is? What movie that was? I've seen the movie. And he tracks them all down. It's like the forking paths. There is the ideal in the holographic universe of forking paths. It's an ancient proverb or a short story in Japanese, or in, I think it's even Chinese, where a great, someone like Buddha is walking down the forking path. And he comes to his fork in the path. One leads to his death immediately, and the other leads to paradise. And he's able to figure out this stuff and choose the right path to go down, and he does. Well, that's what this is kind of based on, the forking paths. It's a story where, I've read the excerpts of it, but I don't have the entire story. It would be interesting to just sit down and read the forking paths. And it's about multi-dimensionals working upon the earth. I mean, he found a path where he was walking, and he ran into different outcomes of his life. And he could have love and everything else. I'd go down this path and go down that path. He went down the forking paths, and I think there was a dragon involved in it. And he got convinced to go down this one path. He's like, go down that path and you'll be all right. He does this and decides to go down that path. But he got to see the outcomes of the other path somehow. And I'm not really sure how that came out, but that's basically what we're talking about here. We're talking about forking paths. Every decision you make in your life is a fork in the path. You say, I want to do this. There's a fork in the path. And you follow down that path. I want to do this. And to the left, there's another fork in the path. And you walk down that path. It's an interesting story. And that's the basics of it. And it talks about the forks in the paths. I am so awesomely involved in quantum physics and everything. And I know this type of stuff goes on all the time. It's just a matter of waking up and going, look, you have two paths to go by. Sound familiar? Rolling Stones. There are two paths you can go by. Oh yeah, they knew. They were into this also. They knew what was coming this way or that way. And they actually knew it. They knew there was two paths that you can go by. The stairway to heaven, I must tell you. There it was. What the hell is that? I got something buzzing. I have no idea. What's the freezer going off again? Is the light on? No. The freezer is gone off again. Oh, look at the freezer on the off. Freezer stalled again. That's not going to be good. All that shit in the freezer is going to go bad. I don't go off here in about 3 minutes. All right, we got freezer shutdown going on. Well, the shit in the freezer is going to go bad if that alarm doesn't shut off. It's supposed to keep everything about 0 degrees, and it's going off like hell right now. I have no idea what to do. It's still plugged in as far as I know. Let me make sure all these plugs are in. Okay, that's what it is. Well, the freezer is having a spasm right now. I'm going to wait here and see what happens. This should be interesting. You all should be hanging in here. See what happens to the freezer. When that alarm goes off, it's telling me the freezer is below a certain temperature. And it should be not below that certain temperature. I turned the power off and it went off. I turned the power back on and it's on. I hope the fucking thing didn't go out again. We just had that fixed a year ago or so, 2 years ago. And the buzzer's going off like you wouldn't believe. And that's bad. There's a lot of food in that freezer that's going to go bad. It's got power because I turned the power off and it stopped buzzing. And I turned it back on and it's buzzing. Okay. That means it's getting power, but it's not kicking on. When that comes on, that means it went up above 0 degrees temperature and it's having its moment and it feels cold. It should feel cold on the outside. Actually, it should feel warm because it means it's keeping it cold in there. And that buzzer is going off because it's not kicking on. Whatever happened before is happening again. And the freezer is not doing what it's supposed to do. There's a buzz going on. No, well, there it is. That's an emergency. It needs to be dealt with. I'll have to go in there and turn it back on somehow. Okay. The buzz is the buzz of the freezer. freezer is off again. Just start turning on. It's not warm on the outside, but let's see. Burn out all of the food. Nothing's freezing over here. There's no, it's not getting cold anymore. Above 0 degrees or whatever. Everything's frozen still in there, but they want to hold all that. That's why I just think you're sending what no, I can turn off the buzzers by turning it off. But it's not getting cold anymore. It's not warm on the side. That means the whole thing, it's not warm, so it's not running. As long as it's cold, I guess it's still good. It just went above 0 degrees. Stuff over here and try putting this one. And I looked at the one next to the washer and it's full. I mean, I can turn it off. It goes off when I turn the power off. But, you turn the power off, it goes off. I don't know what to think about it. Did the same thing it's done the last time. I can take this off. I don't know where I'm going to put it at. That's so much shit on there. Keep this one closed. Oh, shit. Huh. Turn this. Went off again. I don't know why. There's no reason or worry why it turned itself off. We need to have them come back out and fix it. Long game. Buy a cork for that. Couldn't put the cork back in there. I remember this. The line went up and it went up above 20 degrees. Really freaking me out. Suddenly, it goes bad again. Must have been a bad refrigerator to begin with and stuff that they put together on there. That's money too. Keep that up here with the money. More money. More money. I gotta keep the money together. Always keep the money together. Oh, all gonna fall inside in this thing. It's gonna be more money. That, 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 and the glass. Well, I don't know what to do with the glass. I'm going to put the glass somewhere else. If anything changes, we're going to have to move everything. Canned food. It's open. The hell is that? Oh, what's that thing I don't even use? Okay. Empty. There's nothing in here. Important. Give me gas. Oh, shit, give me gas. No. Oh, okay. We had a freezer breakdown again. Second time this is wrong. It will be the second time. This freezer burned out whatever was keeping everything at 0 degrees. And it's going off. And as it kicks back on and cools back down, it's broke. We have about 500 pounds of food in there, and it needs to be kept at around 0 degrees for storage. And it went above that, and the alarm went off. I guess the rest of the night will be. If it goes off, everything's okay. It kicked back on. For some reason, it kicked off. And I had to move a lot of stuff off of a mini fridge. It looks like a, I don't know, it looks like a dryer or a washing machine type freezer. It's square. It's not the same. And this thing decided to kick off. And it's just wrong that it kicked off like it did. Okay. I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. It's really bad. It's bad when your freezer breaks down because it's called, cheap manufacturing. Second, this will be the second time that had to be fixed and find out what is wrong with the circuitry in it. And it's like, and we had this happen before. We had to bring somebody in, a refrigeration person, and he had to come in and take out stuff. It was like a capacitor and something else that made it do that. And the motor wouldn't run to keep everything cold. And it just did it again a year and a half later. It's not cheap fix. It's like nearly $100 and something to fix that. To come in and service that freezer. You had to go in and remove a capacitor or something else. We still even got the pieces he took out. He left them behind, which is kind of like, okay, we know what's wrong with it. I could probably fix it myself for a lot cheaper, like free, for his maintenance. Being an electrician, I should be able to fix this. But it's the idea that it went off again. And it's like, it's not right. I mean, parts we're putting back in there are meant to go out again afterwards so much. We went above zero, so I don't know. Anyways, is nobody going to join me in here? I mean, I've gone through this before, invite people and everything, and nobody wants to talk. No, hell, why doesn't anyone want to talk? Are we that destitute now after a couple of years that nobody wants to talk? We could have people on here. I had Paul on here. Paul was okay talking. He was ready to talk. And well, he decided he had to go to work and everything, and that was after a couple hours. Yeah, we'll have to put everything in the mini fridge that we can put in there. It's not everything that's in that stand up. There's no way we're gonna put everything in that stand up in the mini fridge that I got. I looked at the other one that's in the bath. It's in the dirty basement next to the washing machines. God, it's already full to the top. There ain't no way we're gonna put it. It's gonna have to have somebody come in and fix this stuff. Well, we're gonna have to throw it all away. Planned obsolescence. That's what it is. It's all about planned obsolescence. This is the second time it's done this. It's planned obsolescence. It only lasts so long, and then you have to call somebody and pay them money to make it work. Planned obsolescence, as they call it. I hate planned obsolescence. It makes me mad. Creatures that prey on the human race. They don't make things to work like they should do for 50, 60 years. It's like a year and a half and stuff, and the parts go out again. That's planned obsolescence. That means you got to call us back in to help you fix this and make it work. Planned obsolescence. And here we are again, back to planned obsolescence after, I think it was a year and a half ago. And someone come in and replace the parts, but the parts are obsolescent, so they burn out again and make the same thing happen. Buzzers going off saying it's above 0 degrees. It's not working. It's not kicking on. Like I said, I can go over there and turn the switch off and it'll stop buzzing. But I don't know. It's not warm on the outside. Now, these big stand-up freezers stay warm on the outside. Give off the heat. And all you have to do is touch the outside of them. Now, when they're cool as the air around them, that means planned obsolescence has taken place again. And that's what we're standing at right now. I have these foot freezers that don't seem to have the same problem as these stand-ups freezers. And I don't know. it, it's a complicated thing. It's complicated. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. The buzzer of the freezer saying, I'm above 0 degrees and it's not getting cold again. Well, yeah, I went in there and felt the side of the freezer and it's not getting cold again. It's failed. The real stat and stuff that's in there, it's like a reactor, it's like a capacitor. The stuff is failed. And it's doing the same thing over again. A year and a half later. And I think it costs about $150 to fix that. They come in and he does his work and he puts in a new rheostat and fixes it and changes out the parts and it works. I have a refrigerator over here. It's been here for about 10 years and it's still running without this problem. But this piece of shit that we got, which I can go in and it's a name brand, has it's like a fucking lemon, and that's all they make now. So if you buy any of this stuff, new appliances, new freezers, new whatever, they are all lemons. This one's one of them. They're all lemons, and it's playing obsolescence, and that's what it is. They make it to last so many days, months, years, a couple, maybe a year and a half, and it breaks down again, does the same thing. Planned obsolescence. It's all in the script. They want these things to break down. They want their refrigerators, cars, and everything to break down after a few years, especially if you have like a 3-year contract on a car. And as soon as you pay it off, it starts breaking down. Every part in it starts falling apart. And you have to go into a service dealer and put in more obsolescence. And it will break down again. And it's a way of making money. How do you think they make their money in these repair operations? Well, if your car don't break down and your refrigerator doesn't break down, and your stove and everything else doesn't break down, how are we going to make money off of you and keep you in business, keep them in business, and keep you in debt? Well, we're going to do planned obsolescence, and that's what I got going on right now. It's planned obsolescence. They love that planned obsolescence. I will play it through. I mean, it's not getting warm on the outside of the freezer, so therefore it stopped working. Maybe it's the pump on it that went out this time. Maybe it was the same thing, the resistor and another component of the freezer that went out. And, well, it's not working. And it's buzzing. It's saying, I'm above 0. I'm rising in temperature. Everything in here is still frozen. That's not the problem. Everything's still frozen. When it gets up to a certain degree, everything's going to be near thaw. And that's going to be a problem. I took everything off from the top of the freezer that I have in here. This thing's been running at the same time over the same amount of years, and it's still staying cold. And it's called Woods. HOODS or apostrophe hoods, and it's still running. It has nothing in it. We took everything out of there because we've had stuff in there for 10 years, and it was time to clean it out and just clean it out. There was too much stuff in there that had an expiry date, and we kept it for 5 years further in the expiry date. It was all freezer burned. We're going to have to move a lot of that stuff into that to keep it around. And this buzzer's going off, and it's like, I have no idea. I mean, I'm without word. If anyone has anything about freezers and when the buzzer goes off and you turn the power off and it stops because it's plugged into a power boot, and you turn it back on and it comes back on, what do you do? And it's not getting warm on the outside of the freezer. It's telling me that it's not working anymore. It actually has no working parameters to it. So I don't know if you ran into this situation before, know about this, and how I didn't turn the buzzer off. There's a switch at the button to turn off, but that's not going to make it warm up again on the outside of it. It gets warm on the outside, it's standing in the freezer. We touched it, and it's just like touching air temperature. And that means it stopped again. It broke. I just happened to be out when it happened, and happened to hear the buzzer go off when it lost temperature at 0 degrees. I can't do anything with it. I'm an electrician, but I actually can't work on that. I don't know where to get the parts at. These people who do refrigeration systems have the parts in their van. They just pull it out and replace it. Now, there I go. And I can't fix it for pennies. We have to call somebody in or fix it for $100. They'll come in and charge. The part itself probably costs about $10, $15, and they get the rest of it as labor. Wow, it must be nice. I wish I had a warehouse where I could just go in and get a part and replace it. Can't do that. I'm just a worker, like a journeyman worker even, of electrical. I have to rely on whoever I'm working for to have this on hand to fix it. That isn't helping the situation. Oh well, I guess that's it. Nobody's coming on to talk. I can't even win on here. Even in Britain or in Australia, I can't get you to come on and say hi. just kicked on. The mini fridge has nothing in it. We'll have to put as much as we can inside there, whatever the most expensive, and let the rest rot, I guess. Being prepared with fresh food and stuff frozen, there's no guarantee. If the power goes out tomorrow, guess what? Everything you have in your freezer goes bad unless you eat it. Mm-hmm. And this is what's happening now. It's like I'm a power outage. When the component goes bad in the freezer, takes it out. Use my freezer refrigerator, or freezer, small compartment on top, where it produces the actual cold, seeps down in the bottom and turns everything at 36 degrees. It's a perfect temperature for me on like watermelons and stuff like that. They don't go out. I don't know why. I thought I had Frigidaire that was not prone to this type of. I'm hearing that buzz, and it's not good. I'm not getting one on here anyways. I put out calls to everyone except public, and not getting anyone. Everyone wants to come on and talk. They just want to hang out in the background. Or just hang out in the background. I'm out of words. It's up to you to come on here and stimulate the conversation. Because I have nothing. Nothing to say anymore. The buzz is really irritating. So is everything stalling out in your freezer? That's not a good sign. I have to call somebody in and have them come down and fix it. It's not a good sign. And hear the buzzer going off saying it's above zero. Now the buzzer would just go off and everything would be cool. It means it kicked on and we don't have this. Oh, oh, say it's cold. Ah, it's not going to do it. Oh well. Until next time, I'm going to shut off for the night since I never got any conversation out of anyone. This was a live chat, and all you had to do is come on, keep me going. Now I can see that you're just wanting to listen. And listening is one thing, and communicating and having a very well conversation going on between two people is another. So until next time, be good or be good at it. And good night.